Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the Tomb Kings led by Ark the Black and the Beastmen who are going to be led by Morker the Shadowgave. Without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So up here in the front line, I do have a couple groups of the Skeleton Warriors, and they actually do have gold chevrons. I think both of them do have one gold chevron, and I actually had like 300 gold. It wasn't quite enough to buy another group, so I was like, you know what? Let's just throw it in these Skeleton Warriors and see if it helps them hold against the Beastmen. It's usually a little bit tough because, even Gore Herds and, well, of course, Bestigors all hit like trucks, have a very good charge bonus, so I wanted to see if a couple more chevrons would help these guys hold out. So in total, they got a 29 melee defense. Definitely some serious business there. Here in the center, I do have the Kepler Guard, and the Kepler Guard are very much like the Stearnsmen. I think they're one of those infantry units that are pretty much good in almost all the matchups. There's probably a couple I wouldn't bring them in, but for the most part, very good combat line here. 43, 41, 47 weapon strength, definitely no joke. And even though it doesn't say, armor piercing, and I guess they're proportionately speaking, much like Saurus Warriors, their AP is a little bit low. 15 still isn't bad, so we're going to see how these guys do against the Beastmen. Something I'd like to test. I wonder if these guys could beat like great weapon infantry, like Bestigors and things like that. So we do have the Kepler Guard, Ark the Black for our Lord. Definitely one of the more competitive choices for the Tomb Kings. I think him and Setcher are probably the best. He does have the Tomb Blade of Arkan, can summon skeletons. Very, very good against the Beastmen. You can summon it on top of Centaurs with throwing axes who have to get in close range. Against archers, just a very powerful ability. And the Staff of Nagash, this improves the power recharge rate and also lowers the ability cooldown by 30 seconds. Man, Ark the Black, just some really, really powerful items here. For our spells, we do have Spirit Leech as well as the aspect of the Dread Knight to cause some terror bombing, so it should be fun. We do have a Khemrian War Sphinx, another very good choice against the Beastmen. This thing is a powerhouse against Beastmen infantry. It's just going to run shop all over Gore Herds and Bestigors, and also has some missile attacks on its back against the Centaurs. It's very powerful stuff, and I believe it does cause fear and terror. In the back, we do have a couple groups of the Tomb Guards with halberds, and these guys they're solid if your opponent goes with a very Minotaur-heavy build, because the Beastmen only have a couple ways to really deal with large constructs. Number one, they can get Centaurs with throwing axes and just kind of circle the wagon and just kind of take your guys down slowly, and it's still, I think, an uphill fight for the Beastmen. Or they can go with very heavy Minotaur play, so they can get like Minotaurs with great weapons, try and run over your chaff front line, and from there get onto the constructs. And if they go with that approach, the Tomb Guards with halberds will be very, very good at shutting them down. With anti-large armor piercing, charged defense, just solid stuff. Taking Nekesh's Scorpion Legion, another one of those like must-bring units. They regenerate, have very good stats for their cost, and have poison as well. And another group of halberds on the far side. We do have the Ushapti Great Bows here, which the reason I always like to bring one is just if they have like Centaurs with throwing axes, for example, and you don't bring a single Ushapti Great Bow or missile units, they can kind of just sit with impunity and like force you into awkward positions. So I think having one thing that can outrange their Centaurs is really important here. So we do have these guys. We're also going to be trying a Necrotech. So we haven't seen these guys. I think that's what they're called. It's been so long since I've used one. He's got his Wonder Woman lasso right there, definitely ready to go. But he's going to be healing up the constructs and the Iro Titan here and hopefully generating some good value. And last but not least, we do have the Iro Titan. So this guy's pretty cool. Very, very slow and clunky. But again, if he can sit and kind of just club infantry all day, he's going to be happy. Has a Spirit Leech, but he also does give you the Covenant of Power, which basically increases your Winds of Magic reserve. So you can see here, increase the power reserves and recharge rate. So that's going to be very, very helpful for Arkan. For my opponent here, he's got some archers in the forest. He's got Ungor Raiders, a couple groups of spearmen in the front line, so a whole chaff front line, tons of Ungor Raiders, secondary line of Bestigor Herds to give him some AP and punch to his army. He does have a Brace Shaman with the Lore of Shadows, pretty much the same spells that everyone brings, Pendulum, Melkoth, as well as Enfeebling Foe. He's got the Chaos Cow in the back with his Pimp Claw, and on top of that, I think he has some Centaurs with throwing axes to deal with large constructs, and the Sons of Goro, so plenty of AP, definitely some answers to take down constructs. So without further ado, let's see how this game goes. So he's going to be advancing forward. Ark the Black did a little bit of scouting, so I was able to see my opponent's raiders and some of his other funny business over here. See the archers on top of the Khemrian War Sphinx doing some okay damage on top of these Ungors. So right now, Ark the Black, I did see this big blob of archers, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to have that. That's going to suck. I don't want them shooting at my Ushapti. Even though they don't have great AP, it's still a volume of fire thing. So I'm going to be using his Tomb Blade of Arkan to summon some skeletons on top of those bad boys. So you can see the skeletons have been summoned, the spooky skeletons from the swamp. Definitely going to be very annoying for these archers to deal with. So we shut those guys down. The frontline engagement's underway. The Kepler Guard running in, and definitely going to make very, very quick work of these Ungors. I think my opponent, he does charge me there at the last second, so he gets his charge. Bestigor's coming in as well. Definitely like that for my opponent, taking the charge. Granted, Tomb Kings have terrible charge bonuses. Definitely not what they're known for. Wonder Woman here is going to have to get in there with her magic lasso and slow these guys down because I didn't have enough infantry to just stop the hordes. So he gets in there and just kind of backhands he backhands his arm off, which quite an achievement. But very good stuff for my opponent, kind of getting into the line right away. Ark the Blacks can intercept as well, and I do send some Tomb Guards with halberds over there, and I will be pulling back the Ushapti Great Bow. Frontline engagement's underway. Skeleton Warriors are slowly getting mashed down here. The Tomb Guard with halberds are going to be bracing for these Ungors, even though I should have charged because they don't have charge defense against all the Iro Titan getting in there. He's going to be using his laser eyes. It looks like he was about to do something there, but he kind of just like was hanging out. I don't know, maybe some sort of a bug in the attack animation there. But the Chaos Cow gets in as well. I do pull back the Ushabti. They're obviously very fast with 54 speed, so I pull back into the forest area. Front line's going okay, I would say. The Kefir Guard here are holding pretty well. Enfeebling Foe going down. But the Cambrian War Sphinx, I was hiding in the forest until the axes got in there, but I just wanted to see what was going on. But man, just getting in there and just monster mashing those guys, just running them into the swamps. And of course, small units, like all these infantry essentially. Oh, with a good throwing axes from my opponent. He's able to park these guys right here, and he's getting some pretty good damage in. Kind of nibbling down the HP, but infantry-sized units do take penalties in the swamp, so this is definitely a very good area for me to fight because my infantry suck already. The Cambrian War Sphinx getting into the Centaurs, the throwing axes, doing some pretty good damage actually, and still my opponent's done about, maybe 15-20% damage on the Cambrian War Sphinx, so I do use a restore, so you can see his HP going up rather quickly there, so you're definitely getting some okay value from the Necrotech. In the back we have a little bit of a goon battle going on. Ark in the Black popping the Staff of Nagash. Morker the Shadowgate definitely taking a little bit of damage, and it looks like there's going to be a pendulum going down, but I think I was able to avoid it with a lot of my troops. The aspect of the Dread Knight also going down, giving them terror, so potentially can tear out these hounds and these other troops. Now we have a really kind of a heavy fight here in the back line. So King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, the Tomb Guards with halberds, and look at that, the terror route actually works. So Ark in the Black getting a ton of value out of that. Those halberds actually terrifying off the Sons of Goros and those other troops. And right now I'm just trying to keep my forces high and tight. I don't want anything to get isolated. That's really how the Beastmen would win this engagement here. For example, if I had left my Iron Titan over here, he could have surrounded me with all these Bestigors and then gotten some really good throwing axe pressure, but keeping them together is really going to make it hard for the Beastmen. So the Chaos Spawn are rushing through the swamp. You can see some of the spears coming in as well. And here's where I use the Staff of Nagash. So I'm able to summon some skeletons on top of the throwing axes, which disrupts them. I can push them back, and I really feel like for the Beastmen in this matchup, it's exponentially more micro-intensive for them to get the value out of the Centaurs. It is a lot of work, so we're able to force them back. And the entire time they're being dealt with, all these little low-tier units like the Ungor Spearmans are having quite a bit of trouble here. So yeah, that was a Ushabti summon. I was like, how did I use that Staff from Nagash twice? But we do summon the Ushabti. I basically saw an isolated group of the Bestigors over here, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to swiggity-swooty these guys. I'm coming for that booty. We're going to summon these Ushabti and get the Cambrian War Sphinx just trouncing through these guys, doing some heavy, heavy damage. And yeah, things look to be going pretty good here. So Tomb Guards with halberds really holding out, and Tomb Guards with halberds are kind of like Empire halberds in the way that they're a decent frontline troop against everything. They have good AP, good melee defense. Yes, they're not going to cut through things, but they're pretty good at just holding, letting your other troops, get your value. So somehow the Necrotech ended up over here. Wonder Woman's going to be working her way back here. Does he have just a giant throwing axe inside of his head? It's one of my favorite things about Total War Warhammer is after someone gets hit with volleys, or it's just hundreds of spears in them, and they're just running along. But anyways, the Iron Titan doing a pretty good job here, stomping down the Chaos Spawn. My opponent does have some Overwatch fire coming in from the Ungor Raiders, but I don't know, it's going to be a little bit tough for them to get down this much HP with the Restore. But Ark in the Black is actually taking a little bit of work. He's at half HP, and let's go ahead and see if we can find Morker. I know Morker's around here somewhere. The Brave Shaman with the Lord of Shadows has been doing pretty good work on the Chariot, just running over my skeletons, racking up 56 kills. And he's farmed a bit of a battle line. So Tomb Guards with halberds here are crumbling. Over here, we're able to get a Spirit Leech on the Sons of Goros. And the Ushabti Great Post actually took a lot of damage. My opponent did a really good job getting the Sons of Goros on those guys, and I had to respond with the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, but not before he was able to take out a couple of my Ushabti Great Posts. I think, how many did they start with? Is it 9? Yeah, so he took out 3. King Nikesh is able to force those guys off with the Spirit Leech. Right now, I'm just trying to regroup right here and fend those guys off. I really need the Ushabti Great Posts, otherwise, I can't catch my opponent. If I don't have any missile play, he can kind of just sit and shoot me, and I'm going to have to chase him down, and it's relatively inefficient to do that for sure. Iron Titan here is going to be stomping some of these filthy Chaos Spawn, going all Iron Titan. I guess it was a Jaeger. I always want to call him a Kaiju, but he's definitely more of a Jaeger from the Pacific Rim series. So he's going to be pimp slapping some of those Chaos Spawn with his cane there, definitely doing his people proud. He's pretty healthy, rocking 7,000 HP. Iron Titans are definitely very tanky, so it's going to take a lot of effort to bring him down. Over here, the Tomb Guards with halberds going in there. The Centaurs with throwing axes, unfortunately, are out of ammunition. And my advice to you guys would be, if you're going to be playing the Beastmen against the Tomb Kings, you really want to micro the Centaurs with throwing axes. And I mean, my opponent's micro has been fine, but one of the issues is that he has them on fire at will. So as they're kiting away from spears and other things like that, they're using a lot of their ammunition, it looks like, on some of my low-tier troops. Although, I don't know, maybe most of it was on the Cambrian War Sphinx. I'll have to watch the replay back, but it's often a good idea to not put it on fire at will unless you're being, a construct is chasing you, because a lot of times, I do this all the time. I'll waste a ton of my ammunition on skeletons and things that are chasing me, and it really sucks when when you get to the late game and the Tomb Kings constructs these big bad boys here, like the Iron Titan, they still have a ton of HP. But Morker the Shadowgate making a bit of a last stand here versus Ark in the Black, but he is in a 2v1 situation. The Cambrian War Sphinx, even though it's I guess Morker is infantry sized anyway, so the bonus would help him, but it's actually pretty good against large targets as well. But the Cambrian War Sphinx and Ark in the Black are able to take out Morker with that Spirit Leech and that 2v1, and it worked out pretty well. So that was a great game. It was pretty close there. He was able to get that Centaur around and really pressure my Great Bows, and yeah, I was a little bit nervous when I saw how like dense his army was and how wide it was, but thankfully we were able to hold out. Tomb Guards with Halberds did a very good job, and yeah, I thought the army composition worked pretty well. The restore was nice. I was able to get the 2 restores off, so I was able to heal. I wonder how much HP that heals. I know it's at least a couple hundred, but we were able to mitigate a lot of the damage on the Necro Sphinx there, or not the Cambrian War Sphinx. We were able to heal up some good stuff. But as far as the army goes, I like the front line. I really think that the Skeleton Warriors do a pretty good job for their cost. I mean, they just kind of hold it. They're not going to win any beauty contests. But man, these guys had 106 kills. That's pretty bananas. So 88, 8, 106. Tomb Guards with Halberds held the back line. Just kind of a safety insurance policy against Minotaurs and things like that. Iron Titan did a good job. Spirit Leech was pretty useful at bringing down Morker. Although I used so many Spirit Leeches on Morker, and it was such a waste because he just healed through them. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we did get him down, but I probably should have taken out the Brave Shaman and Floor of Shadows. That would have been like a guaranteed kill. Cambrian War Sphinx did pretty good. I don't think you need the Necro Sphinx in this matchup because there's not like anything on the Beastmen roster that's so insanely powerful and large that, I mean, yeah, they get on Minotaurs and stuff like that, but still, like even the Cambrian War Sphinx with some, Halberd support can deal with that. I think that it really is a staple in this matchup to always bring one Ushabti Great Bow or even a couple Skeleton Archers. I think the Ushabti are a little bit better simply because of the range and the durability. They're not going to get like, if I had Skeleton Archers, my opponent could have overwhelmed me with his Ungors and burned them down. And my backline was constantly compromised against the Beastmen, which is pretty much always the case. So I do think that that's going to be the safer pick. For my opponent's army, I like the Shadowcaster. Shadow's pretty good. Pendulum's good at cutting these guys down. Enfeebling Foe's good against Constructs. I like Morker. I honestly liked his army quite a bit. Centaurs with throwing axes, I would probably bring like 3 of those and maybe 2 Centaurs with great weapons and 1 more group of Poison Hounds. So maybe cut one of these like Vestigores and then like go that direction. I think these guys are really kind of the key to victory here, as well as having a couple Centaurs with great weapons to cycle charge and take the boys out. So anyways, very well played to my opponent, Jimmy Lasing. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this Tomb King vs. Beastmen game. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.